Welcome back to yet another sad reality. Wow, it feels like I never left. And we're on the boss now, I guess. What to talk about now? I actually had it on my phone because I had 3 videos planned here, and I need to dig that up. Oh yeah, everyone else. Okay, so here's some work stories. So yesterday it was kind of weird, so Sunday, a 10-hour shift. And I like long shifts, but they also kind of drive me crazy to an extent as well. Um, the I also love physical damage in this game. Look at all that damage. Just gonna sit here and spam. Easy. Okay. That's what I mean. Like in the last video, I was like, "Oh, elite difficulty is easy." I'm like, "This. It really is that easy." I don't think this game's hard. On higher ascensions, definitely it is. But if you're not beating the game on normal difficulty, I don't even really know what to say. So. My friends were like, this game's kind of hard. I'm like, I don't know about that. What I like about the Golden Bow is it has high crit, and I used to use the double crit strat here, so you get crit X on both weapons or whatever, and then use that on like a really high fire rate weapon or whatever, and it goes kind of crazy. I think the Strike Bow has the highest natural crit though, unless they rework that. But anyway, so work stories. So, 10-hour shift. And within, I think, the first hour, there was one guy who came in to return a pair of shoes. And I'm like, okay, well, that's fairly normal, you know. And I wasn't actually the guy helping him, so keep in mind, all of this is, like, secondhand. Like, I was just nearby when this happened. And trying to kind of focus on it, but obviously I have my own customers to work with, help, and all that. So he's bringing back a pair of shoes, and it's actually not a normal pair of shoes. Turns out there was a release yesterday. It was, I don't know if it was a Jordan release or what it was, but special pair of shoes. Now, the return policy for the special releases is you can't return those, turns out. Now, it's not really stated most places, but on the receipts, it does actually say we reserve the right to decline any returns, all that. Even though people will be like, well, you said the return policy was 90 days. It doesn't work like that. I mean, businesses can do pretty much whatever they want, and there's small words for it. And people could be mad and stuff, too, and I don't blame them. But at the same time, like, reading the rules would help, or like reading the receipts or any of these other things might be nice, I guess. Especially when it comes to literally harassing workers that you get paid, admittedly decently for the place that we work at, but also like there are better things to do in the day than do that, I guess. But so he was causing problems for one of my coworkers, and they're like, okay, fine, you know what, we're going to return the shoes, but we can't do this again, obviously, and it got to the point where, so our store manager wasn't there yesterday, but we had to get him on the phone, talk about this, whatever, and then the guy tried to call corporate and was basically like, oh yeah, these 3 employees lied to me, even though they all said the exact same thing, we're literally reading directly off the policy, blah, 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 blah. And then corporate, or yeah, quote-unquote corporate, but it's probably customer service, calls our store while our store manager's calling our store, and it's just a complete shit show. We're gonna do this. Upgrades, people. And that was super fun. I could tell our key carrying lead at the time was pissed off. He said, to quote him, he was like shaky angry or whatever. And the guy walked back into the store not once, it might have been twice or maybe 3 times, just to argue with people even though he already got his money back. So like for literally absolutely no reason, he was just kind of being an asshole. And I don't understand why people are like this in the world. Like I wish those people would just like fall off a bridge and never be seen again kind of thing. Can I say that on YouTube? I don't know. But there's a lot of people in the world that are not so great. And that sucks, you know? So he was pissed off about that for the rest of the day, and of course we're talking about that for the rest of the day. But surprisingly, most of those things didn't actually really, like, impact me, I guess. A lot of what happened yesterday was just like, okay, well this thing sucked, whatever, life moves on. I'm gonna go for Demon Lord, I think. I like this gun a lot. I also like Sunder a lot. I don't know. We're gonna try it. Most of the really bad things just kind of like completely missed me, and I was like thrilled about that, honestly. It's just, again, 10-hour day. I was like, oh, this is gonna suck, whatever. But really, I was excited for some of my other coworkers that are coming in, like the newer people. I realized that I get along pretty well with, and I've been super happy to like get to know them and hang out and stuff, I guess. Also, that's the easy way. We're gonna go the hard way, though, because I realize I've got some speed boost, and I don't know what it is that's boosting my speed right now, but I'm happy that I have a speed boost. But so thankfully, that all got dealt with, I suppose, but on the way, on his way out, he was like, "You're gonna regret that," or something crazy, and I'm thinking, hopefully this guy doesn't come back and shoot up the place, because that was just absolutely insane. Stuff like that. Like, I don't know if the guy was mentally ill or what, but it seemed like just a normal pissed off white guy. I'll become non-discardable. Multiple options, destroy after selecting 6 times. I like on the house, though. Well, I mean, you really run out of money. I don't know, I'll probably regret that, because I thought it was kind of a mid-scroll to pick anyways. I could have reset it. Sure, why not? I'm not really thinking too much. Again, it's elite mode, which for me, like, easy mode, basically. And, after that happened, the guy was being all crazy, whatever. Things kind of go back to being normal. And for normal, I mean, there's always stuff going on, but it wasn't as bad. But all of that somehow seemed to really, like, kind of miss me. Like, I didn't have to deal with any of it. I wasn't the one involved with it. I wasn't the one getting shaky angry and borderline violent. Which, that's a good thing, I would say. But I kind of wonder and also worry a little bit about others, because, like, if, you know, everyone took a little bit of the hit, then maybe things wouldn't be so bad. And I talked with my PK, and I was like, hey, you doing alright after that? And he's like, yeah, it sucks, you know? And I'm like, yeah, it really does, honestly. Because the same guy called back, like, the store later, and he was like, what's your store manager's name? And when's he working next and all that? And I had to be the lucky guy to pick up that call eventually, so I was like, yeah, and I gave him information, whatever, and maybe he'll have a powwow with our buddies, but, one can certainly hope he would leave us alone, I suppose. Oh. Not to mess this up. I think the hook thing is interesting, like the same way they added a few other enemies, like those bug enemies used to not be in the game as far as I know anyways. Ooh, did we make it? Not quite. There we go, barely, jeez. Wait, where's the... Is that a special chest? There's gotta be some way to get up there, but it's gonna bother me now if I can't figure that out. Anyways, and yeah, so that was kind of how the day started, and the rest of the day, it was just kind of like a day. I guess I feel like I didn't really do too much because we had a register that was down, so we had like 3 people on front end, whereas only like 2 people could actually use the registers, and I'm thinking, okay, well I'm kind of useless now, so that's fun. But, I guess I've got like stats or like metrics to keep up being number 4 in the company or whatever, it's getting kind of old, but I do kind of want to be number 1 by the end of that, or hit like 1,000 credit apps or whatever by the end of the year. I think that'd be sick. Wow, all those cards got blocked. That's fun. Ew. But so where my store manager said he wants me, because I'm decent with metrics or all these other things, selling cards or getting commission sales, all that. Like, I think our store average is about 20% on commission sales. I think my average this last month was 42%, which is really high just in general. And even credit cards, like credit apps, I think per 1,000, there's like, well, I think last month my average was like 9 or 10 per 1,000, whereas we're just happy if some people get 1 or 2 in their entire time working. But he's like, you know, I want you to teach people how to do that, you know? And I'm thinking, okay, I can teach people how to do that, but how do you motivate them, you know? And I was talking with the assistant store manager yesterday, because he was there while the store manager wasn't there. Which is kind of nice, because my store manager finally gets a bit of a break, because he literally works harder than anyone else at the store, honestly. Also, there's a lot of enemies in this area. And the big, like, thing there was, there's a bit of a conflict in the way that we see things, or the way that we think about them. And there's 2 kind of main lines of thinking there. There is extrinsic and intrinsic, but you can never impact, like, you can never affect intrinsic motivation. Whereas some people are like, well, maybe you can eventually develop intrinsic motivation, you know, you just gotta have people like you enough, whatever. And here's my opinion on all of that, and it's that I don't think you can ever intrinsically motivate people. I think there are people that are never going to be as successful as some of the other people, and that's just a function of how much, as an individual, people want something done or want to accomplish it, which is never going to change. That's obviously from the very finite, very limited perspective of a 21-year-old and the very limited amount I know about life. The reason I always say things after that is I feel like these opinions might change, or it could just be flat out wrong later. But I really hope they are, because I do genuinely believe most of the things I say, unless it's an exaggeration, obviously, or against the government, in which case I am very happy, healthy, and enjoy living, you know. Fun times we're living in. Also, I forgot they added this guy to the game, so oh my gosh, it's a tank and a half. So, yesterday the goal kind of became, okay, well, let's, for me anyways, I want to get our guy that, sadly, nobody really believes in to sell a credit card, you know, because people don't believe in him. So let me find a way to get our guy who's like, he doesn't really sell stuff the most, whatever, people don't believe in him. Let me find a way to make that happen, you know? And it really sucks too, because I know all the stuff people say behind his back, and whether or not he deserves it's a different story, but I think he's a good person. I don't think there's ever any malice in him, any of that. He's just chill, doesn't really try as hard as everyone else, but, you know, that's fine, I guess. Not everyone's called to the same expectations as everyone else is. And, sadly he gets a lot of flack for it, but I guess that's kind of just in a competitive environment that we're in. That's going to naturally happen. Anyways, so my idea was like, okay, here, what if we reward you with a high five card? So you get an extra $10 for selling that if you're the first person to get a credit card today. I kept telling him, like, hey, I believe you can do this. I know other people give you a lot of flack, whatever. Because I think they're open with him about it, at least. At least I hope they are, at least. So I mentioned that to him a few times, I think. Once or twice. I don't think it was more than that. And really, I was just kind of, like, backseating and... probably backseating in the most passive way possible, very hands-off, but I was like, hey, you know, if you mention it to every person, you have a much higher chance of, you know, selling something, right? Because if you don't tell everyone, well, you can't sink any of the shots you don't take or whatever, and if LeBron said that, or which basketball player, if it was Jordan or whomever, Kobe. I don't even know a bunch of famous basketball players, and I feel like I should, just because I died, no way, on Elite difficulty, that's crazy. I feel like I should know them just because, like, I work at like a sporting goods store, obviously. But so people give him a lot of flack, and I think that sucks. And the funny thing is he actually pulled through, and he got a card yesterday. And despite that, he now is beating, like, I think everyone in our store, except for, like, 2 people, that being me, who I've got, like, 28 card sales for the month. And, one other guy who actually got one kind of spontaneously, I think 2 days ago, and it was like I think the 4th he'd ever sold in his like 7-year career here, basically. So for him that was huge, and I was super happy with him. You know, we celebrated that a little bit. But for the guy who, you know, doesn't get much, doesn't have much, and the it's getting money. No, I like keeping my full scrolls most of the time, anyways. There's a few curse scrolls that are nice to get rid of, though, on occasion. For the guy who doesn't get much, and for me being in the position where I need to now get everyone to be at the level that I'm at, it's possible. And extrinsic motivation does actually prove something. My guess is it's kind of finite, though, where you're not going to be able to do that over a long period of time. But, one can certainly hope, I suppose. I'm probably gonna kill this boss here. See if I have any final thoughts or whatever. Ooh, Gemini. Okay, here we go. So I'm gonna talk. I think I mentioned this earlier. I want to go for the crit. Here we go. There we go. That's what we're after. Observe. Actually, I want to also refresh my cards. Ironically, I do all of that, and this character is so, like, ability-centric that I'm probably going to beat this just having the Did I not buy the card pack then? Huh? Didn't refill my cards? No. Okay, I'm a little bit lost. Anyways, I think it's doable, and I really hope to be able to teach people the things that I know and can do, but it's a different story, I think, getting them to have that same level of committal, that same level of determination to, I guess, kind of the art or the same, I guess, diligence, determination, expectations that I hold for myself. So, all that said, I've got high hopes for it, but we'll see, and I guess I'll let the general audience know with due time. So, thanks for watching. I'm going to switch over to another game, record yet another episode. So, have a fantastic rest of your day, night, evening, morning, 3:39 p.m. on Monday, September 15th, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good one, y'all.